Hello, all you beautiful people in Webtown. Welcome back to Crypto Comics. I am jazzercised to talk about some more trading cards from the 1990s that I collected when I was a kid. This is the Savage Dragon card set that came out at the height of the Dragon's popularity. And it actually features, these are some of the first images ever drawn of the Dragon. You can see that the fin is noticeably shorter in these. And here we have Erik Larsen, obviously drawing in his very unusual style. He holds his pencils very weird. Look up a picture. It's odd to see how this man holds a pencil, and that he can draw so well. It makes me wonder, did he start holding a pencil normally in more recent issues of Savage Dragon that don't look up to the level of quality I expected when I was a kid in the 90s? Maybe. Oh, and here's Erik with his butt kicked by the Dragon himself, about to be arrested. That's cute. But that's beautiful. That's a nice pinup right there. Wish I had that poster. That's cool. Dart, Mighty Man. I'm disappointed. No Ricochet. Super Patriot and Vanguard though. So to tell you a little bit about the Savage Dragon, they actually inform you a little bit about what's going on with this character, how it started on the back of these cards. Erik Larsen first drew the Savage Dragon for Charlton Bullseye, but that story never went to print because of an art overstock at the publication. However, Erik was persuaded to publish it in his own book, Graphic Fantasy. Note that the Dragon was originally created in 1972, making 1992, the year that this card set came out, his 20th anniversary. In 1982, 10 years after he was created, when Erik was 19 years old, he and friends Al Harris and Kevin Keyes printed their own comic fanzine featuring the Savage Dragon. Graphic Fantasy, published by Ajax Comics, lasted only 4 issues. The Dragon appeared in the first 2. This publication introduced Erik Larsen to Gary Carlson, with whom he worked in Chicago to gain experience in writing, lettering, penciling, and inking. Most people know that Erik lives in the San Francisco Bay Area, but he started the Dragon living in Chicago. One of the Dragon's earliest appearances was on the last page of a Vanguard story in issue 2 of Megaton Comics. Savage Dragon also appeared on the cover and in the lead story of the 3rd and 4th issues. Note that Erik describes an early version of Savage Dragon as a cross between Batman, Speed Racer, and Captain Marvel. So how about that? When Savage Dragon was first introduced, his secret identity was William Johnson. Strangely enough, in the very near future, a fellow cop named William Johnson will join Dragon on the Chicago police force. Today, the Savage Dragon has no secret identity. Note that the original Savage Dragon was the director of the Society of Superheroes. The new Savage Dragon is a strong guy for the most part. No web fluid, no magical powers, just a big, strong guy. If I cut off his arm with a laser, it stays off. But that's not to say that neat stuff can't arise from that. If I decide by issue number 3 that Dragon should breathe fire, then I'll do it, Erik Larsen said. Note that the Dragon is 5'10", weighs 450 pounds, and can lift tons. So I disagree with this because I'm pretty sure I have seen the Dragon's hand blasted off and then grow back. So that changed within, a year of this being released, these cards being released. That would have been, maybe issue... I've done these issues. If you go back into the comic reviews here and you watch Savage Dragon versus Overlord, you can actually see that. So, okay, it was maybe 2 years after this card collection was released. The Dragon lost his hand in the comics, and then, it did grow back. So, he evolved, he changed. And predominantly what you have here is a lot of imagery that was used in the comics. The first page you get, pinups that are mostly original, things that we didn't see in the comics for the most part. Not all of them, like these, this. These are all used in an older comics that we had never seen before. Erik has released those in some Savage Dragon archive books. And so, I always love this picture right here. This was always a very good one. Yeah, basically this was just a way for Erik to cash in, make a little more money, reprinting art that he'd already drawn, essentially. Most of this imagery, if not all of this imagery, is from comic books. This one's dope. I always thought this one was dope. I remember when this happened in the comics. This was great. Nazis. Yeah, Nazis used to exist in Savage Dragon. I don't know if they still do. And what do we do with Nazis? Punch them, I guess. I don't know. Don't punch any 90-year-old men. Just call the authorities and tell them you found an old Nazi living in your neighborhood. And definitely don't end up like Brad Renfro in Apt Pupil. Oh, Star, when he had the long hair, the butt rocker hair. He was actually, secretly, it was Slash from Guns N' Roses. Most people don't know that. Okay, Arachnid was like the creepiest monster. You know, if you watch my review of these comic books, Arachnid was great. I think Erik Larsen's strongest suit is coming up with really cool villains. And he makes each one of them awesome, and then he makes each one of them disposable. They do not typically survive through the issue. There are some exceptions. Killraiser is an exception. I think Arachnid eventually did make a comeback, maybe. But that was probably years later. I don't know. He retcons this comic every year, it seems, from what I understand. If you followed Savage Dragon through the years, tell me what's going on with it in the comments below, please. Let me know. I am curious. I'm scared. To actually read what Erik has done with this character, because I love this character when I was a kid. Like, on par with how much I loved Wolverine. Wolverine was one of the first books I collected. And when Image came out, initially for me it was all about the Savage Dragon and Shadowhawk. And then I started to move into, Wildcats, Youngblood, Spawn, the Max, so on and so forth. But Savage Dragon, always going to be close to my heart. I wish there would have been a movie. This would make an awesome movie. It would make an awesome Netflix series. If you just went back to, the first 25 issues. You'd be able to tell some really cool stories. I'm not sure where it went after that. I kind of phased out after he took down the Overlord. But I think that Overlord made a comeback at some point. I don't know. Tell me in the comments below. I know you know. And so, yeah, this is basically where it ends. It's just images taken from the comics and reprinted. Very basic, very simple concept. And probably made him, who knows, tens of thousands of dollars, I would assume. Probably more. I collected them all, obviously. I was super stoked. I bought them until I had all of the prism cards, too. See that prism effect there? Yeah, isn't that fun? I got all 6 of them. These, little bonus here, these are from Darker Image number 1. This is where Blood Wolf and the Max and Deathblow all made their first appearances. And each one would come polybagged with a different card, so you had to, buy it until you had all 3, right? And that's how that works out. So anyways, that is the Savage Dragon card set. And I hope you liked it.
Legends of the Lone Wolf. 80-page full-color anthology. With your support, we will bring you a perfect-bound 80-page book of the highest quality. Everyone involved has donated their time and talent, and all the money will go to printing and shipping before any of the creators turn a profit. Unlike other anthology books, Legends of the Lone Wolf contains a 38-page feature-length supernatural story. That's nearly twice the size of a regular comic book. This campaign is the only way to get the variant aged edition of Lone Wolf's number 1. This highly unique version of our first issue will be printed on a stunning aged newsprint and features a cover by the one and the only Muttman. So don't sit on your hands, Wolfomaniacs. You're gonna have to get out there and grab a copy for yourself. Ooh, yeah!